Welcome everybody to our Digital Services Forum biweekly. Today we're going to talk about value stream mapping. We're going to go the full gamut from what we're doing in the future to what we can do today in ServiceNow with the product. I'm going to use some IT for IT value streams as examples as we go. So that's the topic for today. We'll go through some value streams. If today's your first time with us, we always like to share your name because we go through all the notes. So if you could go into the chat and just paste your name in the comments and tell us where you're from and anything about why you're joining us today. And welcome to the group. It's great to have new members.
Hey, John, have somebody put it in the chat for people that
sure will. Yep. Thanks. Yep. What we're doing here is this community link. It will get you to everything that we have. So it'll bring you to our digital services forum page. And that has 4 links on it. So it's going to have the sign up for future sessions. We always use the same registration link. So that'll let you get ahead and sign up for future sessions. Then you could get all the previous session content off the forum. So we have a YouTube channel. We put the videos up there, but also any content that we want to share on these. And we'll have some content today that we're going to share. That content you can download from there as well. So you don't have to email people around and try to get it. A lot of people like to steal a slider view away from what we show so they could show it inside their organizations. And, we're happy that you do that. And you can pull that material down. There's also going to be a link to if you want to get on an instance, the instance I'm going to use today for the demo, that's exactly what it's for, is to demo off it. And people can go on and look right at the demo. We don't have to say, how did you do that? Or where is it? You can just log into the instance and pull whatever down. Or run through whatever use cases you need to get the understanding that you need of whatever topic we share. And so those are all the things that you'll find on that Digital Services Forum page in the community. And like I said, it's all on one link. We're going to paste that in there, like I think that was Tina asked. Right, today's agenda, I'm going to kick us off just for the first 15 minutes. And take us through a little bit of a tutorial on what's in ServiceNow today for value streams. And then we'll go in and I'm going to use the 7 value streams from IT for IT. I'm going to use that as an example so that we can see at least the framework of that inside of those ServiceNow tables. Makes it a little bit real when there's data in there. And that's what we're trying to do is, take a little peek into how we might use that going forward. So there's not going to be a lot of use case demos today. It's just going to be more about, here's the data. This is how the data sits in there. This is how we might connect the data to use it in some future designs. Martin's going to pick it up from there. He's going to tell you how the EA team can help you out with value streams and show some examples, I think, that he's working on, which is really great. So we get to see what's going on in the field right now. And then Carina is the product manager. So she's going to be able to tell us where we're going with value streams in the future. I don't know if you're all familiar or not, but value streams are pretty early. We've only had them in for, I think, the last 2 releases. So these are just a brand new set of tables that we're connecting into the CSDM. All right, we will be going through later, and Carina's going to be our 3rd speaker today. So we'll be going through, and this QR code, if you can scan it now and get to that Menti site, she's going to ask some questions on there. She likes that a little bit better than the ones that we use in Zoom. So those will help us see where everybody's at so that we can maybe prioritize some features that we're talking about today and drive some of the directions for value streams. And I'll flash that back up later too. All right. If you go to the Digital Service Forum instance, and this is the instance where whoever emails me, I give you an admin login to this instance. It's the instance I'm going to demo today. So if you go to the plugins and you look and you type value stream in the plugins, you'll see that I have the value stream artifacts installed. So that's the plugin you need in your instance in order to use the tables. So that could be added on. You don't need any license to do that, except that, typical ServiceNow license. So ITSM or SPM will get you those tables inside of your instance. Right, I'm going to go through what those tables are, but yeah, if you want to see what they are, or get any information, or look at the product, the version, you can go into the instance and just type value stream and plugins and get all the data on it. It's also available in the store. So if you go to store.servicenow.com and type in value streams, it'll load the value stream artifacts in there. Right. Basically, what you get is you get the stuff in the green. The stuff in the green is the new tables. It's a pretty basic set of tables. So there's the value stream category, which lets you group value streams together by category, exactly like it says. And then there's the value stream table itself. And you'll see this is in CMN _value _stream. So it's not a CI table. It is a table that's in a different part of the database. And so you'll be able to put a name for the value stream, and then you'll be able to categorize it in there. And I added a few custom fields that I'm going to recommend when I get to the demo. Right. The value stream process, this is equivalent to the value stream stage. What we're doing is we're linking the value stream to a set of processes, and we're giving them order. So you'll see the order field in there when we get to it. Okay, so that's the tables you get when we get started today. What I'm going to use today, I'm not going to go through what IT for IT is in detail, but I highly encourage everybody who's doing any type of IT transformation to have a look at it. But what it does, it's going to look across the plan, the build, deliver, run. It's going to look across those 4 phases, and it's going to show you these the way to derive value, right? So there's an evaluate value stream. And I'm going to show you a little bit more about that, what that is. Explore is the next one. And then there's 7 altogether, 7 value streams that cross the different domains. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that as an example. And if you go to the instance and you like IT for IT, or you're already working with IT for IT, you could pull those value streams right out of the instance and put them into your tables.
Hi.
That's all I have in there right now, or 7 value streams.
Break.
Oh. Somebody have a question? All right, and then what I'm going to do also in the demo, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to show you before I show you, but I'm using some of the TOGAF references, and you'll see with TOGAF when they have a value stream, what they're doing is they're taking a value stream, and then there's stages in the value stream. A lot like this one in the upper right, that's probably really small for you guys, but in the upper right here, you'll see that the value stream is acquire asset, and then it has value stream stages or processes, they're called here, and the order of which things happen is listed down here. So in TOGAF, what they say is that we should be able to relate a value stream stage to different processes and also different capabilities. So there's different, you'll see the relationships here, and there's in TOGAF, there's a way better description for what I'm saying here. But what we want to do is we want to create these relationships. So as part of design, we could see that value stream stage is driven by these capabilities, and it's also driven by these processes. So usually a value stream stage, what happens is the value stream moves along as you jump from process to process. You think of somebody checking into a hotel room. That's one of the ones I saw in one of the classes, right? As the member checks in and as the guest is admitted to the room, each of those are separate processes that happen through the stage to move you along. So think of it like a state change. As you move through this stage, will be different processes that are driving those state changes. All right, I'm going to jump over now to an instance, and I want to show you where I'm referencing everything today, because I'm basically, to do this demo, I cut and pasted. Right? I went into there's a snapshot, and you can get to the snapshot of IT for IT, which is a reference architecture that's in the open group. It's part of the open group. And when you go into the snapshot, it'll describe the different sections. Now, mostly what I've taken out of here is section 5. And in section 5, it's going to give you the 7 value streams that I described earlier. And then if you go down to each one in detail, like in 5.1, it'll talk about the evaluate value stream. It'll show you what the stages are when you're evaluating a portfolio of digital products. And so everything with IT for IT is focused on digital product delivery from end to end, from the time you think about something till the time it's retired. The IT for IT value streams handle all those pieces. So this is the document I referenced. This is also in the PowerPoint. So if you download the PowerPoint, you'll have a reference to this document. And then what I did is I took and these are the value stream tables inside of ServiceNow. So this is kind of what you can do today, what you have in there. And then if you go into the value streams themselves, right, we can load new value streams in here. So that's basically what I did, but I did add a few fields in here because this is early on, so the value stream data is pretty light. So if you go add a new value stream, what it's going to let you do, it's going to let you just add the name and the value stream category. I added 2 custom fields in here called definition, description, and target outcome. Actually 3 fields because I also added a value stream picture that I could put these in here. So if you want to do that in the value stream record, there's a pretty easy way to do that I'll show you. But just so you know, if you download the data that I'm showing you today, you'd have to add these 3 custom fields in order for you to import data in those fields. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about why I brought those in. All right, so we'll just take a look at one value stream today. This is one of the 7, and it's the evaluate value stream, my favorite one, because that's the one that I've been working on a little bit with the open group. But here you'll see I have the detailed description. And again, this is just cut and paste out of that document that's publicly available that I linked in there. But it explains what the evaluate value stream is. So it's big deal, right? Is to go out and take a chunk of products, digital products, and evaluate them for investment. And the target outcome here is that we want a prioritized digital product portfolio and an architectural roadmap. And these are each of the steps that'll go through there. So if we click on this and I just open this in the new tab, basically this is what I dropped in the database. This is the image that I dropped in the database. Okay, so I have the data in there. And I'm running short on time here. I'll finish up. So if I go into one of these stages, right? This is your ordering over here. So it says gather influencers happen first. You'll see that over here. And what we do is I can click on one of these, and now I can start adding detail. And most of the detail will probably be added to the stages. So when I go into the stage, I can go form some relationships. And usually the relationships that we're going to be forming, if you guys have the Free Lucy or something else like that, that'll probably be better to do these relationships. But you can choose the different relationships. If you're matching TOGAF, that's great. And then what you can do in here is you can go ahead and pick your different dependencies. So if I was going to do, and this is regular database work. So if I was going to go ahead and do the a business capability, for example, I can go ahead and pull up all those business capabilities. And I knew it was going to slow down on me because I'm on a ship today. So business capability, I can go ahead and then run my filter. And then I could take a business capability, and it's the same way with the business process. Because I'm in the evaluate part of the value stream, I might be just looking at something with a portfolio in it. So here I would get my portfolio. And this is assuming you have business capabilities, right? So I would manage leads opportunity, evaluate performance. I'll just drop that one in there for now. And then we have that relationship that we can now use and as part of our design. So the same thing with the capabilities, just like you saw in that TOGAF diagram, right? We'll be able to add those relationships to different capabilities and different processes. One other thing on here, and I'm going to pass it over to Martin. The other relationship that we have inside the value streams is going to be to product models. And if I go into evaluate, you'll see that is more of a many-to-many list, right? So here you can see that the digital portfolio management digital product, model 503, is related to this value stream. So that could hold your backlog for things that you're doing to improve the value stream itself, right? So this is at the value stream level, not at the value stream stage level. So that's a quick demo of what's in there. I want to hand it over to Martin so he can get to more exciting stuff about value streams that are outside of IT for IT a little bit. So Martin, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Let me make sure I share the right screen here. Everybody looking at my slides here?
Yep, looks good.
All right, awesome. So I do want to, I see a lot of familiar names and faces, so I'm excited to be back presenting on the forum, and I appreciate you giving me some time here, John. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how, John and I and our part of the organization partners with clients, with our customers, to help not just identify value streams, but really map out where we can provide some value with ServiceNow functionality across those value streams. But first, I want to use our little reaction. So for those on the call here, if you can just give me a thumbs up, if you even knew that ServiceNow has folks like John and myself that are available to help partner, to help actually drive these types of engagements. I want to see just the awareness that we had there. Okay, I see some folks with hands up there. Awesome. That's great to see. That's great to hear. If you did not know, well, now you know. Now, same reaction. Give me a thumbs up if you knew that today was John Spirko's birthday. So happy birthday, John. Won't take any more time there, but I wanted to make sure to call you out and have everybody reach out to you. So, okay, let's jump in here. So just wanted to start off with a quote that I got here that's kind of resonates really well with me. It's from Gene Ross from MIT, and it's how enterprise architecture is not about drawing pretty pictures, right? It's, I always joke that it's boxes and lines, but it's really more about how we align technology to the business to achieve, to be able to deliver on our strategy. And that's why value streams are extremely important, because we get to visualize, we get to see that across the organization. At the same time, if we look at what ServiceNow enterprise architects do and help our clients, we help understand where those business and technologies opportunities are. And then we help find that value by illustrating how ServiceNow can plug in, bring together data, integrate here, eliminate some steps, automate. It's all about finding areas of waste and then being able to truly use intelligent automation across the value stream in order to maximize the value that's going to be delivered. Okay, well, how do we do that? For this particular, what I like, last time I was on, what I'm not talking about, I got a lot of messages last time I was on. What I'm not talking about is from like an industry perspective, if we look at what value stream mapping is as an activity, or I like to call this value stream alignment, right? Because what we're going to be doing is in workshops and in working sessions, co-creating, understanding what desired capabilities are, doing stakeholder mapping, understanding technologies that are in place, and then asking questions around how mature, how digitized are these. It could be a business process, it could be a business capability, it could be something that I just call activities, right? Steps along the way of value creation and value delivery. Then we can layer in what parts of ServiceNow, along with other supporting technologies, can help. So let's talk about a couple of examples. I know John was showing the 7 IT for IT value streams. That's a very logical place to start, especially since many of us are in IT, right? But also understanding kind of the value network of how other value streams connect to other value streams. Let's take an example of like procure to pay, right? Procure to pay, and then just some common value stream stages of what a P2P value stream could be, from requisition all the way to reconciliation. We would take the time, and it could be on a whiteboard, it could be in Miro, it could be in the instance, as you've seen John demo some of these capabilities. But we want to understand is what happens in each of these value stream stages. So it could be at a business process level, where we're identifying needs for goods, we're sending out auto approvals, we're doing red lines and terms with suppliers and conditions. And so just understanding each of these steps, and then how well you and your organization are able to deliver on these steps, right? Then we can say, okay, is there even a need for this step, or can we automate pieces of this step? So we can have high levels of automation where we can completely remove the need, or mature capability to a sense of digitization, like full level 4 maturity, or we can look for, okay, how can we at least make this easier for the folks involved with each of these business process, business capabilities, or activities. Then and only then can we then say, okay, these are the ServiceNow, and I know ServiceNow uses this word capability, but it's really like the technical applications, the features, the functions of ServiceNow that can help support each of these value stream stages along the way. So let's take an example. I want to bounce on over to Miro. This is one I was working with another client. We're looking at lead to cash, right? So lead to cash for them is a value stream that it's going to be, it's one of their primary value streams. I'm not going to get into the delineation between, primary and supporting, but this is important to them, right? It's revenue, it touches revenue, touches customers. So we had to map out each of the value stream stages, come up with a consensus and agreement. And then along those, we looked at this from a business capability layer, right? Identify what each of these are, who are the appropriate stakeholders, who participates in these activities, map these out for each of the value stream stages. Then we were able to layer on some of the ServiceNow capabilities, but also understanding where there's intersections with other enterprise technology stacks, right? ServiceNow from if you look at the marketing side, touts ourselves as the platform of platforms, and that's exactly what it is. It's a conduit. It's bringing together data. It's not always system of record, but it definitely is an automation engine. So pulling information from Salesforce, or relating, integrating, with pop-outs or shopping hubs with Coupa. In this case, their ERP was Oracle Cloud, so having to tie into the financials of Oracle Cloud. But then again, along the way, layering in things like data from the CMDB, from knowledge, from service catalog, from other applications like procurement, service delivery, but being able to actually tie those back to value, right? Which parts of the value stream is this particular function of ServiceNow actually going to help us streamline, make more efficient? So going back, so we do have a value stream workshop. So get with your neighborhood enterprise architect, get with your account teams if this is something of interest. We can focus in on those IT for IT value streams, or we can go outside of those where we're looking at it more from a macro level of what the organization does, and then even start those intersections of which value streams relate to other value streams. I'm not going to read all this to you, but this is not a billable engagement. ServiceNow are part of the organization. We're non-billable, but I'll never use the term free, because what we want to do is make sure that, investing this time as a partner, that we're actually able to provide value, that we have the right folks in the room. It's typically 1 or 2, hour and a half to 2 hour workshops. We could do it as a half day. And really what we're trying to do is just create that visual guide and all the components necessary to deliver value along particular value streams. And then we can start to layer in those ServiceNow capabilities, and even phase those in as this is what we recommend you do now, do next, and do later. So with that, you've heard John talk about, what we can do within the instance today. You've heard me talk about how we could partner together to co-create and collaborate and create these visual guides. And then I'm going to turn it over now to Carina, who's going to talk about where we're going from a product and a future roadmap side.
Thank you so much, Martin, and happy birthday, John. Looks like you're getting lots of birthday wishes. today. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Before I start though, so just to let you know, my name is Carina Hatfield. I do lead our strategic portfolio management inbound product management team. And so we spend a lot of time talking about value streams and thinking about what should we do with value streams, because that should be the front end of funding your portfolio and making those investment decisions. Before I start though, I did want to have a little bit of an interactive activity where we could ask you a couple of questions with Mentimeter. So there are multiple ways you can do this. One, you can pull out your phone and scan the QR code, or if you are on your laptop or you don't want to scan the code, you can go to menti.com and you can type in the code 8667-0507. And the first question that I have, actually, before I jump to Menti, okay. So the first question that we have is, does your organization try to understand cross-organizational processes for operational efficiencies? So it is multiple choice. So yes, you're using customer journeys. Yes, we do value stream mapping. We do business capabilities. Maybe you do all the above. Just Monday, I had a great conversation with an organization who actually does start with their user journeys, map out their value streams, including capability maps. It looks like the most common answer is no, but we should. And then for fun, I added no, my organization is a mess, because we know everybody is on a different maturity journey when it comes to something like value streams. So it's really fun to see where everybody is in thinking about value streams. I do have a couple other questions that I wanted to ask as well. So let's go on to the next question. Is, what is the main challenge that your organization faces when you are trying to look at optimizing the flow of value, not just the flow of work? So as you think about already, somebody's like executive buy-in, need that top down, making sure that executives understand this. Difficulty of defining value. I've had conversations with organizations that really struggle with, how do we define what value is? Maybe they're trying to implement objectives and key results, maybe not, and there is no mechanism to really understand what your baseline is, and trying to understand where you want to where the areas that you want to improve. It looks like there's a couple people, lack of alignment with the EPMO, PMO, and Agile Center of Excellence, or Agile PMO, depending on, there's a lot of office terms is what I call them. It looks like lack of processes to validate customer value. And the most common answer, it looks like, is disconnected tools and disparate data models. So can imagine getting your organization to speak the same language. Even value streams is a really, I'm sure John and Martin and many other people on this call find that not everyone uses the same language when it comes to value streams, business capability maps. I do hear a lot of organizations, or people in organizations, refer to value streams like hire to retire, procure to pay, that Martin just went over, but they actually don't call them value streams, and they think of them as more like high level processes. I just decided, looked at the chat. I do like that, Jim Keane, politics and territory protection in orgs. There's that book, Who Moved My Cheese, that talks a lot about that, that politics and territory that people have. Martin, that's a great question. If you open up chat, I'm going to have another question for you guys, but until then, Until then, Martin asked the question, other than value streams, what are other terms that your organization uses to describe value streams? So if you can throw that in the chat, that would be interesting to see that. Okay. So before I get to roadmap, because everyone loves to hear about roadmap and what product managers are up to at ServiceNow, I will go to the next question, which is who in your organization is most likely to be successful at influencing the need to identify, map, and fund value? So I have a lot of different people in the organization named here, from your CEO to EPMOs, VPs across the business. Looks like VPs and CIOs are winning, but look at those business architects. We're seeing some of those. I'm sure there's quite a few business architects on this call as well. Ooh, not an option on the list. Juan, thank you for calling that out. CISO, I need to add that.
I think most architects try to avoid security altogether, so that makes sense. Just kidding. I'm sorry if there's any CISOs that just offended.
Security is very important, Martin. Or actually, it's very important. It probably is one of those things, doesn't feel important until it's very important. And enterprise architects. CFO, Dan, speaking of my heart, I'm a CPA by trade. So I'm missing some roles on this survey. All right. So thank you for participating in my questions. I will go back. Whoops. I will go back to presentation mode. Okay, so we all know that value streams are the process that lead to value delivery. And when we think about ServiceNow workflows, this is my entry into some of the things that we're doing in strategic portfolio management. We think about those ServiceNow workflows and how they deliver value throughout the organization. So you may be wondering, why does strategic portfolio management care so much about workflows? Or you think it's really obvious. As we think about our friends, like the people I get up every day and think about, our EPMOs and PMOs, or maybe it's some digital transformation person. It could be somebody who's responsible for strategy for their part of the organization that really wants to ensure that they are optimizing their processes and they're delivering value to the organization. And we're seeing this more and more in different parts of the organization. Sometimes it's in accounting that thinks about that lead to cash value stream. Sometimes it's in HR, that hire to retire value stream. They tend to be very cross functional. You know, we all know value streams don't just sit in one department of the organization, which is why politics and territory can be such an influence related to that. So as we think about strategic portfolio management, or if you're looking at IT for IT, the strategy to portfolio value stream within your organization, we really want to be the strategic guide for improving value delivery. We know that digital transformation offices can't digitize and automate their organization unless they understand those end-to-end value streams from a cross-functional perspective and understand what it is that they want to achieve from a business outcome perspective. So from a strategic portfolio management part of ServiceNow, we get up every day and think about how do we help create a great experience to help organizations set their strategic objectives, break them down into goals, and define the key results that they can use to measure and drive that improvement of delivering value every single day. And we want to be able to not just align work to it, but we want to be able to identify the workflows that work is going to change, like the change management of running projects, or if you're an agile organization, your agile teams are ultimately digitizing those people, process, and tools. And we want to create that strategic map to help ensure that you understand the current state of those processes and what should the to-be processes look like. That's the result of the work that you're investing in within your portfolio, which is where I think sometimes CFO comes in, right? They're the ones that ultimately will approve and fund that portfolio. And we want to be able to visualize that end-to-end value delivery and help you optimize the workflow. So how do we do this? One of the easiest ways to think about this, when I look at ServiceNow as a platform, I see a puzzle. And what we want to do is we have all of these different puzzle pieces on the platform that we want to connect together from the perspective of a value stream lens. So we have value streams added to the CSDM. You saw John do a demo of value streams. From a strategic portfolio management perspective, we can help you set up those goals, define those targets, to drive those investment decisions. And the work that you're doing that's aligned to those OKRs is all within strategic portfolio management. That already exists today. We have a strategic planning workspace to help you do that. And then we have on the platform all of those workflows, whether they're IT workflows, that IT for IT, as John talked about, but there's also other workflows like employee workflows that we help automate and digitize on the platform. And those are often large digital transformation projects, which is why our customers are buying ServiceNow. And then we also have that capability around process mining. We recently renamed it to process mining, so some of you might have heard of it when it was called process optimization, which is a really powerful way to understand how long it's taking you to go from one state to another state. There's been, if you're not keeping up with what our product management team is doing with process mining, we've come out with some really exciting capabilities around being able to monitor and understand the flow across multiple entities within process mining. You can also bring in data from systems outside of ServiceNow. So if you're looking at, for example, your hire to retire value stream, you can use process mining to see how long it takes to onboard an employee if you're using the platform to help you onboard employees. I know every ServiceNow person, we all use ServiceNow in our onboarding experience, but you can also bring in data from a system like Smart Recruiters to see how long does it take you to hire the person before you actually are ready to onboard them. So there's a lot of exciting capabilities. But all of this really means that our digital transformation offices, our EPMOs, our business architects and enterprise architects that are looking at how do we change and optimize these processes, we need to be able to connect those both to our enterprise architect workspace as well as our strategic planning workspace. So this is what we're up to in, whoops, my slide, there we go. We, within our strategic portfolio management solution suite, we have strategic portfolio management. We also have our application portfolio management group, part of the product as well. So when we think about our enterprise architects and our enterprise architecture workspace, business architecture is on the roadmap around our application portfolio management. Duran, who is our product manager, is working on, we are actively in development right now, being able to connect and visualize, as Martin said, those boxes and lines that he jokes about, being able to draw those lines and boxes for you within our enterprise architecture workspace. So we are going to templatize those diagrams for you so you can have different versions of them, and then you can save those diagrams within Enterprise Architecture Workspace. You can have value stream maps. So here's an example of order to cash value stream. If it's in the CSDM, we're going to be able to model it for you and be able to map those down to the business capabilities. We are also going to be adding the ability to model the process flows as well. So here you can see within my order to cash value stream within a particular business capability, I can then also start to map out those process steps and all in sequence of those activities, the roles and decision points within those processes. So we are actively in development. I see a lot of chats coming in, but it's really hard to monitor. So feel free to cut in and stop me, Martin and John, if there's any questions.
I think I just wanted to throw up the sign of this is where the audience applauds and cheers and everyone gets super excited, because I know a lot of folks have been waiting for this for a long time on platforms. So super excited.
Yeah, so we are going to be releasing it iteratively. Our first version is going to be available in May. I can tell you, I saw the lines and boxes actually earlier this week in our end of sprint demos. So this is actively being worked on by our R&D teams. So then you might think, okay, great, we're going to have our enterprise architects and our business architects being able to draw those diagrams and do lots of those modeling capabilities. So why do I care from a strategic portfolio management perspective? We definitely see the market doing an intersection of enterprise architecture and strategic portfolio management. We're also seeing a movement within the market to also become more customer centric. So that's where the customer journeys come in. So not just thinking about the business capability maps and the value stream maps, but also how do they intersect with your customer journeys? Where are those points within your value streams that your customers are experiencing? Because I always like to think about things like lead to cash, or if you're managing a value stream where a customer intersects back in with your business processes, those are the most critical, because they're obviously could potentially impact revenues, or worse, if the value stream process isn't efficient, it's not only can you not improve those revenues, but you may actually negatively impact those revenues. So if your mobile app goes down for your financial services organization and people can't interact with it, then they're going to go find a bank that they can interact with their digital workflows and that customer experience. So one of the things that we are starting to work on is how do we create that puzzle that we want to put together in the front end of our strategic portfolio management solution. We are continuing to invest in our objectives and key results and visually make them easier to use and friendlier to use, but we do have that capability already today. And then we want to start bringing all of the pieces together. So being able to visualize that end-to-end value stream, being able to see the objectives and key results related to those value streams, being able to bring in metrics. So being able to see, okay, where in your value stream is taking you the longest to deliver that value. So you can then drill into that. And I actually have a little demo that I'll do. I should probably we still got 15 minutes. So I got plenty of time. And then, and being able to drill into the stage. So in my example, I'm looking at a order to cash value stream, and I can go into the transaction settlement stage and being able to see that that's where it's taking the longest, and the sequence of activities are taking and being able to then create those projects and programs in which to invest in which to improve those metrics and improve those stages in the value stream, as well as the process. So you can see how I want that business-oriented dashboard to be able to feed the strategic portfolio, but then I also want our enterprise architects and business architects to be able to go down to the next layer when it comes to modeling all of the people, process, and tools, and being able to model out those processes and all of those sequence of activities that are going to be impacted by those investments in the portfolio. So here's a quick little conceptual prototype that we've created to visualize that complete value stream. In this example, we could imagine, let's use maybe AI or being able to use metrics to see, okay, my cycle time is taking way too long to be able to settle those transactions. We do have updated visualizations. This is a little bit older, but being able to understand, okay, if our transaction settlement is taking too long, maybe we need to replace a manual process that we were using Excel. Maybe we want to implement Stripe and integrate it with the ServiceNow platform in which to improve the process of a customer being able to settle their transaction with us. We would want a project or a program in which to implement that Stripe new implementation, the new system, and we have to integrate it. And how much are we going to spend on that, and get our CFO to give us the funding to be able to do it. I can then also manage the supporting value streams of being able to manage that ideation to deployment process within the platform. And then I can come in here and see that now our 60 days is now 7 days. We have optimized that stage within the value stream. So some of the activities that we're doing is our engineering team is looking at things like workflow designer and process mining. How can we get some of that data into the CSDM in a way that then we can give you those modeling capabilities for your enterprise architects, as well as a business user friendly visualization such as this to feed your strategic portfolio. So one of the things that we're also doing is besides partnering with some of our other business units, like our HR business unit and our workflow counterparts that are outside of IT, we are also partnering with our data foundations team. So if you've ever heard Scott Lem or Mark Bodman talk about the CSDM, what we are doing is we're going to update the CSDM to reference value stream stages to capabilities to processes. So while we added the value stream and the value stream categories, I think we added them at the beginning of 2023. So they were early last year. We are now going to update the CSDM to be able to reference a value stream stage to the business capability and being able to connect that to business processes. So from a CI perspective, being able to have that data in the CSDM, Duran on our APM side, me on the value stream strategic portfolio management side said, okay, great, we have value stream now, but now we need to go one layer deeper from a data model perspective, because for us to be able to do this, we need to have all of that data housed within ServiceNow. So I'll kind of take a pause there, see if there's any questions or anything that you want to add. Martin,
there's one question I'd like to bring to your attention, Carina. I'd love to get your perspective, because this is one that I get a lot too, from Albert. How does value stream and the EA workspace or value stream workspace, some of the mock-ups you showed, how does that differ from DPM and the personas that would be using either one of those?
Oh, for digital portfolio management.
Yes.
So what we've seen, so it's really, really interesting. So what we've seen is with digital portfolio management, that persona that has started to use DPM and really embrace DPM is the service owners. So people who are on the end of the development. So specifically thinking about that development value stream from ideation all the way to support. It's an interesting value stream because it's many different personas, right? Like sitting in product management, you can imagine I relate very intimately to the front end of that value stream of being able to come up with ideas and planning. And then my engineering side is the going to help build it and make it happen. And then I honestly, I'm going to, I hate to admit this, but once product gets released, I care about implementations, I care about enablement, but I become terrible at don't ask me what version we came out with what feature. I just can't remember them all. I can't keep them all straight. And what happens is our support side really comes back into the engineering side to fix any issues. And really it's enhancement requests or huge efforts that need to go into the back into the planning backlog that come in back into product management to prioritize. So as a product manager, we're notorious about really focusing on the front end of the product lifecycle, not at the end of the product lifecycle, which I hate to say. But obviously, from a complete lifecycle perspective, you want to be able to have visibility to that and being able to manage that. And that's where digital portfolio management, I think, really is a powerful way for service owners within that are using ServiceNow to manage those services. Digital portfolio management brings all that data together for them so that they can see the tickets that are coming in. They also can see all the changes that are being committed through DevOps. So they have the flow metrics that come out of DevOps, and then they can link into strategic portfolio management, that planning side and strategic planning workspace that we own on our side. So what we're seeing is a lot of those customers are starting at the end of the product life cycle, and they're really on the support side, and they're working their way back to optimize the value stream. And we're not seeing a lot of people who are taking on the entire development value stream at once. They're almost focused on the middle or the end of the value stream, and then working their way back from an optimization standpoint. So I hope that,
yeah, I can add more color to that, because what I've seen is us position DPM for the concept of a solution owner, whether it be a product or a service.
Yeah,
because more companies are moving from project to product.
sure.
We're seeing in the market more of this persona. Even ServiceNow administrators are being elevated to ServiceNow product owners in our customer base.
Yeah.
And so the ability to manage the entire life cycle of that product, from strategy or plan, like we use the IT for IT value streams, all the way to break fix, which is detect to correct. That's what I thought DPM was initially there. I'm by the way, I'm like, this is amazing stuff. This is amazing. Like, for value stream to be coming out is awesome. It's so I just want to give you that context. It's just is value stream management. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that was the intent of DPM. And what's happened is a lot of organizations are struggling with that product model. So if you look at digital portfolio management, if you look at Caitlin's roadmap, she does want to incorporate the product model that we've added to the CSDM to bring DPM there. I think what we're seeing, though, is because organizations are still in that shift from project to product, they're still managing services.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I think if you look at it, it's more the personas and the way we've positioned it at certain, like, anyway, sorry, this is probably a bigger conversation for this topic. I just want to get clear, though, if we're presenting value stream manage or value stream workspace, is it for the EA, or who's the persona from an SPM perspective that we're looking to use this?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So what we're actually doing is the modeling piece with those diagrams. We're building a strategic portfolio management is actually, we're building that component. And what we want to do is we want to surface that component into the enterprise architect workspace to meet the needs of our enterprise architects. And Duran has business architecture on his roadmap to be able to support their needs. I want to take that same component and connect it to the front end of strategic planning workspace.
Yeah.
And I'm targeting your EPMOs, your PMOs, and maybe like your directors of strategy across the organization, or your operational excellence people, because they're the ones who are actually managing the overall business value streams and owning those value streams and getting funding to optimize them from a strategic perspective. But I think both of those personas need to work together, and they need their own space in which to do that. And then we need to ensure that where there's overlap, they can share. So like those templates for like out of the box and being able to connect to the CSDM, then I can provide similar diagram visualizations using those templates for those different personas.
Yeah,
No,
I see a lot when I'm working with clients that it's shared data among multiple personas, from business process consultants to architects, whether it be business or enterprise, to strategic planning, EPMO. I mean, and that's the beauty of ServiceNow, right? We get to share this data on a foundational, fundamental platform, and then view it through different lenses. So I think that's a great conversation and great way to kind of bring us back here. But no,
yeah,
appreciate
I just want to make
the
sure.
engagement.
Yeah, again, I'm only a small voice amongst our entire sea of ServiceNow customers, etc. But I see, like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with, obviously, Project Prague. We've thrown that out with Mick Kirsten's, vision of managing the end-to-end value stream. I think because we're going to take on this value stream workspace as the title of the capability, we need to make sure we explain to our customers the persona that's using it, or it's geared for specifically in conjunction with that message. Otherwise, we'll get into the same issue that DPM had with. Sorry, this is probably too much for this conversation.
Great, and I'm sure everyone else on the call is going to have similar feedback. But I just want to thank the entire audience for the level of engagement and participation. But we'll turn it back over to you, John. Thanks.
Yeah, I just want to thanks again to our speakers. That was awesome. We had some good data on value streams. And Albert, I know this is contentious on everybody's different definitions. Over the next two meetings, I just wanted to give you a quick summary of what we're working towards. But the next meeting, we're going to look more into microservices. There's been a lot of questions on microservices and APIs and what we're doing with those. So that will be the topic of our next meeting, unless something changes drastically. And then the meeting after that, we're going to do some work around large files. A lot of people that manage some really big files. I work with state and local customers a lot, state and local government. And I know there's huge file stores out there. So that's what we're going to look into the meeting after next. So if you have any feedback on either one of those topics and you want something incorporated or to be involved in those, send a note my way and we'll get you on the docket. Any questions before we conclude? I think we got everything covered right out of the chat, right, Martin?
Yep, I think so. I think we're good here. Appreciate everyone taking the time and joining, and we'll give you a minute back on your birthday, John.
Thanks, Carina. Thanks again for speaking, Martin. Appreciate it.
Thanks for
we'll talk to you guys in a few weeks.
Thanks for inviting me to join. Have a great day, everybody.
Yeah, great stuff. Happy birthday, John.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.